This video is going to be about device profiles. Device profiles is basically all the settings and restrictions that each device is going to be assigned. So to get a better look, let's try to see if we can look through profiles. Go to devices, profiles and resources, profiles. Let me erase this. See, you can see all the profiles that have been created. You can see where they're managed by, which organization group is managing them. Lifetime Fitness, their assignment type, if they're automatically deployed or you have to push it manually. If they have assignment groups. And here on the far right you can see the green check is how many devices have actually received the profile. That gray minus sign is how many devices are supposed to receive it but they're not installed yet basically. And that little picture of a guy is how many devices are supposed to receive it. That green check on the far right shows that the profile is active. So the one at the top, LTF conference room web clip, that's basically a web clip on the iPad, which is a bookmark. You open up the bookmark, you can't really you can't go on any website other than what's ever bookmarked in it. Beneath it is all devices. It's basically two URLs that I blocked so that you won't get notified of the iOS update. Beneath that, you got the club Wi-Fi. You won't need a passcode; it'll automatically connect to it. So let's see if we can add one so you can get a good look at what it looks like and what you can do in there. And there's slight differences between Android and Apple iOS, so I would take a look at both of them and all their features so you get acquainted with them. So this page general is the same for Apple and Android. This is going to be the profile name, description, deployment, whether it's almost always going to be managed. Assignment type, auto, it's going to pull down this profile automatically without you having to go into the device and, push it to install. And you're almost always going to not allow removal. You want it to manage it at the highest level. You want it assigned to, whatever organization group or whatever smart group you want to use. So on the left, you can see the categories which you can do. You can add. You can make it so that it has to have a passcode. Restrictions, it just shows you all the restrictions, and the Apple will let you restrict. You can block the camera, FaceTime, screenshots, text messages, the App Store, whatever you want to do. You have like tons of options in here. Bluetooth, iCloud you could disable. Let's see. There's one feature here I want you to get a good look at, but you can block pop-ups, accept cookies. Okay, so here where it says show apps and hide apps, this is important. So if you click where it says show apps and you type apps in there, the only thing on the iPad that's going to show is whatever apps you put in there. Now, if you just want to hide a few of them, like the ones that they come with, the native apps, like Google Photos. No, whether it's Photos or Calculator or Calendar. If you want to block that, you go to Hide Apps, and you gotta get the bundle ID for the app and type it in there, and it'll block it. Okay, so this is very important. Almost every device is going to have a restrictions profile. And also, let's say you need to create a passcode, restrictions, Wi-Fi, single app mode. Let's just say, right? You don't want to do it on one profile because you can't delete it later on because you have 4 other profiles on here. So if you need passcode, I would create one profile for passcode, one for restrictions, so that you can delete it later if you need to without messing up whatever else is set up on there. Okay, so if you take a look at this, you got Wi-Fi. You can set up Wi-Fi on here. You just need the Wi-Fi name, the password. That's pretty much it. Also, one other feature you can do is in restrictions is you can force it to use a specific Wi-Fi. If you're on iOS 10.3. See, force Wi-Fi whitelisting. That means it's gonna go to this specific, whatever Wi-Fi it has a Wi-Fi profile for. That's the one it's gonna go to, and it's not gonna go any other ones. Also on the right, you can see which iOS applies to some of these. For example, this one you got to be iOS 10.3, and then above them you can see iOS 7, iOS 5. If you got an iOS 9 device, this 10.3 feature is not gonna it's not gonna take place, and it's not gonna apply. So you gotta factor that in. Content filter, that's how you block URLs. The URL I last blocked was two URLs to keep the notification from iOS updates from popping up. See here you can say built-in allow websites, so deny websites, and then you blacklist those URLs. You could type a URL in there, hit enter or return, go to the next line, hit another URL. You can hit the automatically filter inappropriate websites. So you got home screen layout. That lets you determine how you want to set up the iPhone or the iPad. Like say page one, I want this app. I want a folder in that app too. I want on page one I want an app, and then I want a folder in the first page, and I also want an app inside the folder. The dock is the little bar at the bottom that doesn't move no matter how many pages you flip around. You can add a second page. You can add a folder in the second page. You can configure any way you want. It's kind of self-explanatory. You look at the top, it says iOS 9.3 plus. You got to be 9.3 or above, or else this feature's not going to take place. You got lock screen message on the left. You could just look through all these. You got single app mode, which means your device is going to be tied to one app only. So see where it says lock device into a single app. You could type in that app right here using the application bundle ID. And if you look at your notes, you can see where you can get that information from, the bundle ID. And then you got additional options here if you want to mess with them. iOS 7 Plus. Single app mode is iOS 6 Plus. That's pretty much all devices. So, and then you can hit save, and then on the second page you're going to see which devices are going to apply to this profile. So that's device profiles for iOS. If we could take a look at device profiles for Android, you'll see a few differences. So let's go to add profile. Make sure to get very familiar with all the features for profiles for both iOS and Android. You can see passcodes, restrictions. The restrictions are a little different. Okay, here we go. So you can block the camera, microphone, factory reset. It's a little different. Wallpaper change, you can allow or not allow that. Screen capture, allow copy and paste. USB debugging. So you have a lot of features in here. Allow Google Play, YouTube. This is basically the restrictions for Android. The Wi-Fi is the same. The passcode is the same. Bookmarks is basically in iOS it is called web clips, and Android it is called bookmarks. So same thing, different name. You put the URL in here for the bookmark you want to create, the name of with the name you want on the device under the web clip that's going to show. If you want to load a picture for an icon, if you have one on your computer, go for it. If you want it on your home screen, you can hit that home screen button. So bookmarks, same thing as web clips. You got display in here that didn't exist in iOS. That's another feature. You can kind of mess with it a little bit, whether you can set it to sleep, keep on a timer. You can mess with the display brightness. Also, another major difference is application control. Application control lets you enable whitelist, blacklist, and required apps. So here you can see prevent installation of blacklisted apps. So you keep that checked if you want. If you want to create a list of blacklist of apps. If you want to create a required list of apps, you leave that checked in the middle. And at the bottom where it says whitelisted apps, you keep that checked if you want to create a whitelist. I think a few more lessons down, you can see what a blacklist, a whitelist, and required apps list are. Briefly, it's basically blacklisted apps is banned apps you cannot install on the device. Whitelisted apps is the ones that you can install if you want to. Required apps are the ones that have to be on the device. They gotta be on there. So, once again, look through all these features for Android and Apple. This is pretty important stuff. Save and publish at the bottom once you're done. Make sure you don't create a passcode restriction, a Wi-Fi application control, all on the same profile. That's gonna be a mess later on if you need to say you need to delete something. You have other features on there that are already configured. So one at a time. One profile for passcode, one for restrictions, one for bookmark. Make sure you set it up that way. Okay, so reread your notes on profiles. Watch this video again, mess with it a little bit. It's very important to learn as much as you can about this. This is a very important feature in Airwatch. And with me saying that, that's the end of this video.